The last, I don't know, Catherine, maybe even a couple of months.
Yeah.
Okay, the last couple of months, I have started to realize now that I've been under a bit of pressure. There's lots been going on in my world, as probably all of our listeners, as I'm sure we've all got big lives, right? And the last couple of months have been particularly, lots going on. The highs of, my daughter getting married, but organizing that and all of the in-betweens
Yeah.
and family visiting and da da da. But then lots of bumps in the road as well.
Yeah.
And I won't go into the details of what happened or whatever, but I had a bit of this tanty moment and I went for a massive, I took off for a little bit and so since that point, I've been reflecting and being a bit curious at what's going on. Why am I so reactive? I've noticed I'm a bit short with people that I love. I'm defensive. I'm quick to be frustrated. And I saw this post on Instagram.
I'm just thinking this is not the Addison I know. And I'm also curious, Elle, what is going on?
Do you know when people say, Al, how are you going? How easy it is to put a smile on your face and say, yeah, I'm good, right?
Yeah.
And not because I want to not tell people how I am. I'm just been tired and haven't been, I'll be really frank, been bothered,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just not. And so all these little things have had sort of built up and I basically squashed them down and I saw this post and it was all to do with how we suppress our emotions or our circumstances suppress things. And then what that does, how that impacts our brain, how it impacts our emotions, how we live in this state of fight or flight.
Yeah.
And then they were talking about kind of the solution of this is about reframing. And and when we talk about reframing, it's talking about telling ourselves kind of a different story or a different way of looking at it or a different way
Mm.
of responding rather than being, I can't be bothered and just running away, hiding, getting cranky. Um, and so when I saw this post, I thought, wow, I'm not the only one. I'm sure I'm not the only one who's having these moments of freak out, running away, hiding, getting angry. I'm going to bring it to the table. Let's have a little chat because we spoke last week about something completely different. What was it? Listening to love. And I just thought, you know what? I think that there's a connection here. And so, yeah.
Yeah. And, thank you for opening up and sharing that with us and all our listeners. And you are right. I think, what you share is part of the human experience.
Mm,
And I think the challenging thing when we are in those seasons
mm,
is that absolutely we get into this space of, I couldn't be bothered.
mm.
Because it's exhausting. I mean, there's something that's brought you to this place of
Yeah.
of being, and you said it yourself, you're exhausted, you're
Mm,
tired, there's a
mm,
lot going on. And I think when we're in the thick of those seasons,
mm.
and then you see what I'm supposed to reframe, take
Yeah.
a hike.
Yeah. Who cares? What is this? I
Who
can't be
cares?
bothered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if somebody says, hey Al, how you doing?
Hmm.
Um, or they say to me, hey Kath, how you doing? Sometimes you want to just give the easy answer and say,
Yeah.
I'm absolutely fine,
I'm fine.
because
I'm good.
actually sharing all the stuff, like
It,
that's hard
f-
work.
yeah, but it also feels like if you're talking about it, you're bringing it all up again. If I just let it go and say I'm fine and just take a few deep breaths, hey, I actually am fine. I'm okay.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that for some of us, that does feel so true, and we don't realize
Mm.
that by doing that, we actually are suppressing
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I think some of us have a capacity to suppress more
A
easily
lot.
without being aware.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that that's definitely been my case for sure.
Mm.
And so I think you are right. I think because I've been thinking a lot since last week about
Mm.
this listening to love.
Okay.
And I had an experience at work the other day in a situation where I had I noticed anxiety on the inside of me. And I
Mm.
noticed that as this circumstance was unfolding, it was kind of ramping up
Okay.
on the inside of me. And at the time, I thought to myself, just breathe.
Hmm.
I was, I was a bit curious. I'm like, what's going on here? Where's this coming from?
Mm.
Is this a bit of social contagion? Like the other
Mm.
people in the room, am I feeling what they're experiencing? Like what's going on? But I didn't really have anywhere to take it. And like I didn't
Mm.
really have a thought about how to reframe that.
Mm.
So having access to this, but you know what? I can switch gears and I can acknowledge what's going on
Mm.
and I can reframe by practicing listening to love
Yeah.
and listening for what are the other people's values in the room and what's really,
Mm.
going on, which um helps me to reframe
Yeah.
what's
Without,
happening.
because sometimes if someone says to me, "Hey, Al," no one's ever said this to me, but just reframe it, I'd be like, "I'm just going to reframe you in a minute," because when you're in that moment, right,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
you don't know how, like it's to change our way of thinking. If our default thinking isn't helping us, it's very difficult in that moment to change the default thinking. So if
Yeah.
we've got a bit of a plan of attack. So I love what you said there, that you were able to bring, if you could go back and have that conversation again who you're talking about before, listening to love, that is an automatic reframe. You haven't had to go, oh, I need to reframe this to work it out. It's that piece of that curiosity, oh, I'm going to listen to love. There's an
Yeah.
automatic shift.
And the thing is, I think without even realizing it, like unconsciously, I've probably created, well, I've got an existing story in my head. And
Mm,
I wouldn't even know how to give it language right now, but something to go and think of. So if you're asking me to, hey, Kath, just listen to love, it's like I don't need anyone to explain what that is to me. I don't know, it's weird. It's almost like I'm like, oh, okay. And
yeah.
you suddenly you're listening with new ears.
Yeah.
And no one's taught really. I mean, we practiced that little exercise last week on, trying to listen
Mm,
for values. But it definitely is it's like a mindset hack. It's like an easy hack.
mm,
It's like an escape out the back door.
yeah.
Like, oh, I've got an easy fix for this. I can listen
Mm,
to love
yeah.
as a way to reframe.
Yeah.
So I love that because what was this post sort of saying?
It was saying that by when we are respond, like if we're just being reactive, if we are have been suppressing our emotions and our circumstances and not sort of processing them, it is causing our amygdala to be like we're living in that using that part of the brain.
Okay, I
That's
see.
what
Yeah,
we're
yeah, yeah.
accessing. So that's why there's kind of like that one last straw. One more person just says whatever or does something, and it's like the last straw, and off you're gone because you've
Yeah,
been in that state of fight or flight the
yeah,
whole time, but it's just been one thing too many. But
yeah,
they say
yeah,
once you start to reframe, being intentional, and the post talked about how brain scans have shown they can see how when you reframe or tell a different story, change, yeah, when you reframe it,
yeah.
you're
So just
accessing, yeah, go.
can I pause there? So just for our listeners, if you're thinking, what on earth are they talking about? Like the reframe,
Mm,
all it is telling the story in a different way, or
yeah,
asking yourself, if I was in someone else's shoes right now, how
yeah.
would this feel different, be different? It's almost like what did we share a couple of weeks back? Putting on different sunnies.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
borrowing your sunnies
yeah.
to see things through. Yeah, so that's what we're talking about. So yeah, sorry, I jumped in.
No,
So if
that's
you're
perfect.
reframing, the brain scans show what?
It shows that you're then accessing the prefrontal cortex or a
Yes.
different part of your brain so that then you can start to be responsive rather than reactive. If we don't reframe, if we are sitting in that suppressed kind of state,
Yeah.
we're only accessing the part of our brain, the survival part of our brain.
Yeah.
And we know that, yeah, there's a time and place for the survival part of our brain to lead the way. If a bear's
Yeah.
chasing me, well, that's not going to happen in Australia, but there are moments where the
Thank you.
survival brain
Yeah.
is allowed to lead the way. It's there for a reason and a purpose. But if we constantly live in it, it's very problematic.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that the post was all around the importance of reframing because it allows access to the regions of our brain where we can start to live in a way that's more responsive. We can have problem solving. We can be creative. We can,
all those things. Yeah.
all the things
And
that
as
we
I'm
need.
listening to you share, I'm also thinking, so, tying it back to last week's conversation with the listening to love, the
Mm,
great thing about having something um, that's sort of an easy to remember something to practice
mm,
is I think if we practice uh, a different perspective, practice telling a different story about something, and practice
yeah.
doing this in moments when we're not necessarily in that reactive state.
Yes.
It's kind of like a muscle that we, need to
It's
grow.
exactly what the post said, Catherine.
I really, so if we
You
can
can.
practice this
Yeah.
when we're not always in fight or flight or, that
Yeah.
state, then we'll have easier access to it when
That's
we
right.
need it. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And if we were to reflect back in our life, it's quite rare for me to just want to run off and run away and hide and never come back. Like that's not a normal common state for me to
No.
live in. And so if I reflect back, I can see that, okay, often I do naturally reframe or work through or share what's
Yes.
going on in my heart and I do slow down and do all of those things. But there are seasons. We're not perfect. Like you said, this is the human experience. We just get caught up. And
Yeah.
I haven't had time or wanted the time really to bother to slow down and talk about all the bits and pieces, all the bits and
Yeah.
bobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then there's the consequences of that.
But what's also great is that sometimes I think what this listen to love does also
Mm,
is yes, absolutely find someone you trust, someone who will listen that you can share all the bits and bobs with, for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But we also don't want to go and rehash all the bits and bobs over and over and over. So,
Mm,
again, there's a place for rehashing. But I think the beautiful thing about um kind of shifting gears and then listening to love is
mm,
yes, we reframing the conversation we're having with other people around that often pertain to the circumstance for sure. But we're also taking our mind off those looping stories of the situation and circumstance.
yes.
And
Yeah.
we're moving our thinking and our
Shifting.
conversation in a
Mm,
different direction,
mm,
which I think is also so helpful in those
yeah.
moments when it's so easy to get lost in this downward spiral of,
Yeah.
yeah,
Agreed. Yeah.
yeah,
Because wherever we focus, my goodness. Yeah.
yeah. So I
Mm,
have just loved this, and I'm so stoked that I get to practice, you get to we all get to practice this through
mm.
Christmas.
Yeah.
All those
Because it's going
Christmas
to be
gatherings.
busy.
Yeah, and all the everyone that's listening that have got family coming to stay and or maybe you're going to go and stay with other family and it's a
Yeah.
beautiful time to share each other, but again, there's complexity in a lot of people under the same roof often.
Yeah.
So if we can all just lean into listening to love,
Agreed.
what a gift for Christmas.
It is
Yeah.
a gift for ourselves and for everyone around us, no doubt. Yeah,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Hopefully people can from this conversation, realize perhaps they're not alone in some of their
Yeah.
craziness because hey, life is tricky sometimes but there is a way through it always and there's things that we can learn along the way. So listening to love absolutely is going to help me moving forward to sort of get out of my survival brain
Yeah, and please like
and
don't run too far. Like come back next week. And enjoy these
always.
conversations.
Yeah, all right. Well, love you, mate,
Uh,
and thanks to all
good.
our listeners for tuning in and we'll chat again next week. All right, bless
Yeah,
you.
see you soon, Al.
Bye.
Cheers.